What's going on, Eagles fans, and welcome back to Eagles Latest on Fan Arch. I'm your host, Cory Nidoh. I apologize for no videos over the last week. I got crushed with the flu, and then when I was starting to feel better, my laptop decided to fizzle out on me. The hard drive went kaput, and I had to go purchase a new laptop. But we are back, and we are ready to tackle the rest of the week. And it's a big week in the NFL as the NFL Combine gets underway today. And for Philadelphia Eagles specific news, Howie Roseman and Nick Sirianni will speak to the media later this afternoon around 2:45. Howie Roseman will speak first, and then Nick Sirianni will follow. And that's noteworthy because, A, it's the first public discussion with the coach and the GM since the team's mid-January end of the season wrap-up press conference, where a lot of questions were surrounding why they decided to move off of Kevin Patullo at OC, what went wrong overall, what they're trying to do with A.J. Brown, and what they were looking for in terms of a new offensive coordinator. Well, fast forward until today, obviously a lot has been answered. They have their new OC in Sean Mannion. You heard A.J. Brown during the Super Bowl week talk about how Philly is home. He really didn't seem like he is looking to move elsewhere and is rather excited about the new changes that are taking place within the coaching staff. So we'll have to see how that all pans out. But the NFL Combine is a big event. It's arguably the biggest event aside from the NFL Draft in the offseason. This is where some of the top prospects in all of college football are invited to compete and interview with the coaches and GMs. And it'll be interesting to see who the Eagles will be interviewing, who they will be keeping their eye out for during the week-long process. The Eagles have the 23rd pick in the draft right now, at least for the first round, and they also have a couple of extra mid to late round picks to work with as well. But the Eagles do have a lot to look at, right? They need to shore up their offensive line with the uncertainty of Cam Jurgens and Lane Johnson after this year. They need help at safety if they decide not to bring Reed Blankenship back. They could use help at tight end because right now there's no formidable tight end on the roster. You could always use some edge help, maybe a cornerback too on the outside. I highly doubt they want to move Cooper DeJean out there, and I don't think they want Adoree Jackson back as CB2. So there are a lot of missing pieces that Howie Roseman and his scouting department will have to look at. But let's take a look at the schedule real quick. As I mentioned, Tuesday, Roseman and Sirianni will speak. And then Wednesday, you will have more GMs and head coaches talk to the media. And then the first group of players, including defensive linemen, linebackers, and place kickers, will talk to the media. On Thursday, defensive backs and tight ends will take the podium. On Friday, it is maybe the most important or the players that everybody's excited to hear from, right? The quarterbacks, the running backs, and the wide receivers. Obviously, there's on-field workouts. You've got the 40-yard dash, the vertical jump, the broad jump, the three-cone drill. You know, you got a little bit of everything that will be televised on NFL Network, and I'm sure it will be all over social media as well. So the NFL Combine, it's an exciting time in the offseason. It's exciting to see how Howie Roseman is going to attack this week. Who will they be talking with? Who will they be interviewing with? That will certainly help kind of mold the mindset and maybe even determine some potential targets for the Eagles when it comes to the draft in April. Speaking of targets, there was a report that Kyle Pitts could have been a target for the Philadelphia Eagles, but it does sound like that is no longer going to be the case. Ian Rappaport did report yesterday that Atlanta does plan to use the franchise tag on the standout tight end and Kyle Pitts. That will allow the tight end to stay in Atlanta on a one-year fully guaranteed deal worth more than $15 million. They're hoping that they could get a long-term deal done, but right now the two sides will have until July to do so, but it at least allows Atlanta to keep Kyle Pitts, who had a really strong season last year with Atlanta. And I know there was some rumbling, some rumors. You know, it is the off season. People are just kind of generating content out just for the sake of it. But Kyle Pitts is from Philadelphia, so you could draw that parallel there where maybe the Eagles would like to try and bring in Pitts. He is on the younger side of the current NFL tight ends that are out there in free agency. So we will see how the Eagles attack this position, because with Sean Mannion's philosophy offensively, you need physical blockers to help run this offense, and blocking from the tight end position, even with Dallas Goedert, struggled quite a bit. I mean, we know how bad Grant Calcaterra was at blocking. He just seemed like he had no desire to want to do it. Dallas Goedert didn't have his best year in that department as well. So it does seem like perhaps a marriage between Goedert and the Eagles is unlikely. Obviously, Dallas Goedert took a pay cut last year to rejoin the team after Philadelphia was kind of shopping him around. Obviously, it paid out and played out well for Goedert. He put up a career high in touchdowns with 11. I don't think he'll take another hometown discount to stay with Philadelphia. I could be wrong, but I do think he's going to test the waters. And I think the Eagles might want to move on as well, as Goedert is 30 plus years old. So we will see how they attack the tight end position. I was a little surprised that the Eagles didn't venture into the tight end draft class last year in the later rounds. I thought there was some good value there, but the Eagles opted to stay with Dallas Goedert, and now there is an even more pressing need for a tight end with really Cameron Latu as your only tight end that's kind of noteworthy on the roster right now. Other than that, I mean, there's guys that just you never heard of, and they just quite simply don't have any type of experience. So I do think that it could be a change coming for the Philadelphia Eagles. Dallas Goedert was a wonderful Eagle, but unfortunately this is how the business works, and the Eagles may need to pivot and focus on addressing somebody in the draft. Talking about the tush push now, again, we remember, right? Was it going to be banned this year? Was it not going to be banned? Well, now a report came out yesterday that it seems like there is little to no traction to have it banned. Now, who would have thunk it, right? NFL Competition Committee co-chairman Rich McKay said over the weekend that it is not anticipated that there's going to be an attempt to ban the tush push this year, 1 year after the crazy debate where teams were lobbying to get it banned because of how good the Philadelphia Eagles were at it. But the Eagles were not very good at the tush push in 2025. They struggled a bit this year. They only converted 64% of the time, opposed to the previous 2-3 years where they were in the 90% range. And it's funny because you look at some of the teams that pushed to ban it, including Buffalo. They ran it 21% of the time of all NFL teams that ran the tush push. The second most behind the Eagles at 25.4%. The Eagles ran it 33 times. Buffalo ran it 27, most notably back-to-back plays in the playoffs that helped get them past Jacksonville. Seattle ran it the third most, and Los Angeles Chargers ran it the fourth most. But as of right now, it seems like there's no traction to ban the tush push, and I just think it's kind of comical how that happens after the Eagles found a play that they were dominant in. Most of the teams, instead of just finding a way to stop it, they were saying, no, we need to ban it because A, it was an injury risk, and then there's studies and numbers that prove that it really didn't have anything to do with the injuries. And then the next excuse was, oh, well, it's too tough of a play for the referees to officiate. Now, you could be on either side of the spectrum. You could either love the tush push, or you could say, hey, I'm tired of it, or I don't think it's a football play. Totally up to you, and you obviously have a right to your own opinion. But I just do think it's funny how this narrative has changed now because the Philadelphia Eagles struggled with a banged-up offensive line, where now they're saying, oh, well, maybe we don't need to ban the tush push, and it was more so of a jealousy thing that, A, the defenses couldn't stop it, and B, the offenses also couldn't run it nearly as efficiently as the Philadelphia Eagles did when they initially implemented the tush push. But that's another conversation. We'll see if things maybe change. Obviously, teams could put in a motion for it, but right now it was reported that there seems to be little to no traction in terms of banning the play. With that said, I appreciate just tuning in. I'm excited to get back in on the saddle here. I apologize for the week hiatus, but I'm feeling better and certainly looking forward to talking more Eagles, more combine, more draft stuff as the week progresses. So please make sure you drop a like, drop a comment, and most importantly, subscribe to the channel. It helps us out immensely. And we will talk tomorrow, and we'll break down everything that Howie Roseman and Nick Sirianni, had to say at the NFL Combine. Until tomorrow, everybody enjoy your day.